Randy Adams and his young son Max have an unusual thing in common. They don't just simply look similar or share the same eye color. In fact, the construction worker and his firstborn have an identical hearing impediment that results from a genetic disorder of the inner ear. With Randy being partially deaf and his son having no hearing whatsoever, the family, from Canton, Georgia, took steps to release Max from his silent world. Unlike the two most important men in her life, Randy's wife Michelle has no problems with her hearing. She and Randy made an unlikely pairing when they first met. Indeed, Randy actually introduced himself by typing out a message on his phone. But the pair overcame their obvious communication difficulties by exchanging written messages, before Michelle picked up sign language and Randy began to lip read. When Michelle found out her son had inherited his dad's condition, she admitted to Fox 5 that she was devastated. "I was very upset at first, and I know it sounds weird because I'm fine with Randy being deaf," she said. The mom then qualified what she meant by adding, "It just made me really sad because I thought of all the things he wouldn't experience." When Michelle found out her son had inherited his dad's condition, she admitted to Fox 5 that she was devastated. "I was very upset at first, and I know it sounds weird because I'm fine with Randy being deaf," she said. The mom then qualified what she meant by adding, "It just made me really sad because I thought of all the things he wouldn't experience." The loving mother struggled to get Randy on board, as she explained to AJC. "He was adamant," she recalled. "He said we are not doing surgery and we are not going to change him." Eventually, though, the impasse ended as, to Michelle's relief, Randy came around to her idea. As a result, the pair started researching a suitable treatment for Max. During their investigations, the couple looked in more detail into the cochlear implant. Simply speaking, the device replicates the workings of the inner ear by triggering the body's auditory nerves. Electrodes are carefully fed into the cochlea and these then work in tandem with an audio processor placed externally above the ear. Esther Vives, an assistant professor of otolaryngology at Emory University Hospital Midtown in Atlanta, Georgia, explained how the complex hearing aid works. "The electrodes actually send electrical signals to the cells in the inner ear," she said. "Those signals are then transmitted through the cochlear nerve to the brain and it's like hearing." Eventually, Randy consented to Max having the operation and his son went in for surgery in October 2016 under the care of Children's Healthcare in Atlanta. To Randy and Michelle's delight, the procedure went without a hitch, meaning their son could finally hear for the first time. The noticeable change in Max's behavior was an added bonus, proving to the parents that their efforts had all been worth it. Speaking to Fox 5, Michelle expressed her elation at how Max's new ability to hear had altered his demeanor for the better. Before the cochlear, Max would just kind of sit there. "You can read to him and he didn't care," she explained. "And with the cochlear, Max wakes up and he would start laughing and giggling whenever we turned on his cochlear. He is more engaged and playful." And although Randy was initially uneasy about the procedure, he joined his wife in rejoicing at the results. "He saw how happy Max would get," Michelle told Fox 5. "He literally would start laughing and giggling and just getting so excited whenever we'd put it on him and say, 'Hi Max.' And he'd just start going crazy." Randy was well and truly won over, so much so that he wondered whether he too could undergo the same procedure. Discovering that it could indeed be a possibility, he was referred to Esther Vives. Interestingly, the hearing specialist has seen a rise in the numbers of adults considering such an operation. In an official statement, Vives disclosed Randy's sheer determination and reasoning behind getting the treatment. "Randy was very motivated for his son to do well, and the thought of being able to experience what his son was going through motivated his decision to also try the cochlear implant," she said. So, in March 2017, Randy took a huge leap of faith and went in for his very own cochlear implant. Like his son, the surgery was performed on his right ear. But unlike Max, who is due to have surgery on his other ear at some point, Randy is still to make a final decision on whether to follow suit. Following the procedure, Randy had to wear the device for a month before it could be activated. And the moment it was switched on proved to be a life-changing moment for the family. Michelle was the one who tested it, asking Randy, "Can you hear me?" Unsurprisingly, hearing his wife for the first time proved to be a big deal. "A little bit, but you have a low voice," he said through his interpreter, before adding, "So good to hear your voice." And so Randy's new life began. Jenna Frasso, an audiologist at Emory University Hospital Midtown, explained the next steps. Randy would need to spend the next few months getting accustomed to the device. He'd need to familiarize himself with the various new sounds that he would hear and get used to the pitch and volume of these, which could be adjusted with a remote control. Meanwhile, like his son, Randy was also required to attend speech therapy. For Randy, it's likely this would be the most difficult leg of the journey, considering he has lived in silence for 35 years. Frasso was sympathetic. "In the beginning, it's almost like you're hearing a different language," she said. "It's a different way for the brain to hear. Given his age, learning to speak will probably be an easier process for Max." Indeed, seeing as he underwent the surgery and got the implant before he reached his first birthday, he is on a similar track to other toddlers learning to talk. As for Michelle, well, her world has changed too, for the better. And sharing in Randy's enjoyment of his new sense is just one of the perks. "He is constantly asking me what the sound is," she said. The other day when it rained, he was commenting he was hearing rain for the first time. And with Max, he loves listening to him laugh. Before, he could see him laughing, and it was great, but now he can hear him laugh, and it's really awesome. From hesitating to allow his son to have the surgery to hearing his wife's voice for the first time, Randy has come a long way. The construction worker can now see what an improvement the implant makes to the lives of deaf people. Using his interpreter, he said, "There are many things that limit what deaf people are able to do and what they can and cannot do. So, I am hoping in the future, I'll be able to do more." Both father and son share a remarkable story, and for Randy, the future looks very bright indeed. Hopefully, with the cochlear implant, things will improve and we'll find a better career and better job opportunities due to improved hearing, he said. "For your bravery, Randy, we'd say you deserve every good thing that comes your way."